Hi, welcome to Summer of the Arts Creative Conversations. My name is Eric Johnson. I'm the Development Director with Summer of the Arts. And today for our creative conversation, we are featuring LaTasha DeLoach.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome.
Thank you.
LaTasha, we're going to talk, we want to talk about your work as an artist. But before that, I just want to ask you to introduce yourself a little bit in terms of your day job and your public service, because those are also ways that you contribute to our community.
Yeah, sure. During the day, I'm a social worker, so I run the Iowa City Senior Center. And we do a fabulous job of educating and keeping older folks moving and going in our community, and just an integral part of downtown, integral part of the community in general. I sit on a bunch of different boards, and my goal is to advocate for people. So I still do a little advocacy for juvenile justice, looking at disparities there, part-time, kind of like on the side. And then I also do a lot of advocacy, obviously, for our population we serve. And I also teach a little bit at the university.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. And besides all that, you're a singer.
I am. So my artist name is actually DeLoach, which, LaTasha DeLoach, it makes sense. Nickname came from a friend, and DeLoach is just a thing. I don't know. It was just, you know how you try to change up your name like on social media so that you're not so obvious, but I'm only missing 3 letters, so I'm really obvious. But DeLoach just became a thing, and it ended up coming all the way down to like La D. Like sometimes I'll just sign stuff like La D, because it's like LaTasha DeLoach, it's just easy. So Lala became a thing, and in my music world, people literally call me Lala.
So I hear that Lala has a new song coming out.
I do have a new song coming out. I'm super excited. It has been a long time. The song has been done for a minute, but it got caught up in the copyright office. And then the holidays happened, and then I just got the copyright like this week. So
fabulous.
Hopefully we'll be able to get it all rolling out really, really, really soon here. And so I got to start my promotion for it and get everything set up. So that's what this week is. This week it'll be getting everything and making sure everything's solid.
That's great. What's the name of the song?
So the name of the song is Not With You. I'm kind of having a conversation with someone, but it's called Not With You. I sing a lot of soul, R&B. I sing a little country rock, maybe even a little jazz, blues. And I'm really excited about it. I collabed with one of my favorite producers. His producer name is Crush Caprice. He's originally from New York, but lives in South Carolina. So he's fabulous. And I asked him to put a cello in the song because when I was interviewed by the Little Village, that's what they were saying. My voice kind of reminded them of like a mellow cello sound. And I was like, I need a beat with a cello in there to kind of like match. And so it's got that kind of cello in there that just kind of coincides with the singing that I'm doing. So date out, fingers crossed, March 1st.
March 1st.
March 1st. Right. To give me a little time for promotion, make sure everything goes smoothly. Because, sometimes when you get it into those distributions to go on all the different, like Apple, Spotify, etc., it takes a little bit of time. Sometimes there's a delay. Like sometimes it'll be like a week delay. Like Apple will give you an extra week, or like some other place. But it'll go out to all of them around the world. So it'll go to like 120 different distribution ways that people can connect. So I'm excited about it.
That is so exciting.
It's a fun song. It was a fun song to create. I am unique in that I started later, so much later in life doing music, right?
Yeah.
I'm late 30s, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be an artist. And some people, they start so early at their craft, and by the time that they're there, they're just like, they got it, right? Like they know what their sound is. And like, I still am finding myself figuring out my sound. I'm like, oh, my voice can do this. Oh, my voice can do this. Oh, you know, so, and just loving that, just seeing my transition over the last couple of years and getting that professional coaching has really helped me to be more confident as a singer. But my favorite part of as an artist is actually doing backgrounds and writing. So
Oh, yeah.
love writing. It's a lot of fun for me because I get to I like wordplay. So like for me, like writing music and wordplay, I mean, obviously they go hand in hand. So it's really cool. It's really cool.
So I described you as a singer, but you think of yourself more as a songwriter?
Yeah,
As much?
I see myself as some people call themselves singer-songwriters. I see myself as a songwriter-singer. And that's just because I have more experience writing than I do in like mass performing because I haven't had an opportunity starting later in life and then hitting a pandemic. Where was I going to perform, right? So
let's backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
I kind of want to know about the role of music in your life growing up. What's your earliest musical memory? How did music play out in your life?
Music played out in my life always. My parents loved music. Music that stuck to me the most is we always were over my paternal grandmother, Miss Rosetta. That's my daughter. Her middle name is Rosetta, and she had what was that called? Had the console that had the record player in it. I forgot what they're called. They're called something in particular. I can't think of the name.
This
of it
little
right
console
now.
stereo?
No, it was like this big brown thing that had the speakers in there, but it had the record player. Oh, it's a particular name for it. I can't think of. Somebody's like right now thinking about it. But my grandmother had one of those, and she loved the blues. She loved the blues. So I will never forget, she had a record of B.B. King, and he had signed it for her.
Wow.
And it was like way back, right? Way back when he was younger. So she had it up on a mantle. It was like family picture, B.B. King, right?
Wow.
Like everybody knew. And so she always had B.B. King going and other, folks going. And I didn't even know the names of these people, but it was just background. It was just background music, but you hear that playing and my mom, would sing around the house and stuff. And then we went to church a lot, so got to be in like children's choir and as I grew up and got older, was in church for a really long time and sang, different parts of the service and led some choir songs. But what I really enjoyed was being a choir director as well as writing music for choirs. So that's one thing that people will hear in my music is a little bit of that gospel choir influence, that like my harmonies are going to sometimes have that kind of choir feel back there. So a lot of people say I sound a little bit like Angie Stone. And so like you'll hear some of that harmony of like that choral behind there, just because like that's feel good music for me. That's music that's like, it's something that if anybody's been to a black church or been to a church that has that kind of, you hear that and it's like something that kind of like calms you, it feels good, and then you can really get into the song. So I always have pieces of that in there somewhere.
I've heard you say that you like backup singing a lot. I wonder if maybe that choir background is part of where that comes from. That is
a huge part of that, because like even when I write a song, I'm writing a song right now, and I asked one of my friends, I said, what do you think I did first? And they said, all the backgrounds. I said, of course. And the backgrounds are not words at all, right? They're just oohs and ahs. But it's like, just to play with those oohs and ahs. And then it's like, okay, I gotta put some words with this, because nobody just wants to hear me ooh and ah, even though it sounds good to me. And then just coming up with lyrics. I just, you want to tell us a story in a song, and just like coming up with lyrics and the wordplay. That is where, you hear that over the music, if it's, in the melodies there. And that's just kind of how I write songs. I hear the backgrounds first. I love backgrounds, love. Actually, when I'm listening to a song, I'm listening to the backgrounds first. Wow. And then I'll be like, oh, what did the lead say? Because I'm going like, I want to hear the backgrounds, and then I want to hear the chorus, and then I'll hear the lead, which is why I like people like Brandy, who spends so much time layering. Like, I don't even want to know how many tracks that she puts in one song, but it's like so dense. It's like the cake before we start doing all this fat-free stuff, like it's real butter, real butter.
Yeah.
Got the whole milk in there. So like, definitely love background, love layering, love it.
Let's talk a little bit more about that process, that writing process. What do you, like, you get an idea. Where does this idea come from? How do you keep hold of it?
Man, honestly, I have a little studio in my phone. So for me, a lot of times when some things are just coming to me as melodies in my head, so I record them. I'll either a voice memo or I'll go on my little, I use an app called BandLab, and I'll just go and I'll just vocally put what I'm hearing in my head. And sometimes it turns into something, and sometimes it just kind of, you know, is something that I might use later. I have a lot of, I might use this later, like a kind of a list of it. And I try to keep that organized. And then sometimes I'll hear it and go, oh, I did that one background, where was it? And then it's like something I can add to a song that I'm working on. But yeah, like that, my process a lot of times is I'll hear a beat, like someone might put out like, I don't have any lyrics for this, this is a beat. Or my friend who's a producer, he'll be like, oh, I have this beat. Like right now I have him working on a beat that has a little bit of what's it called, a harpsichord. I wanted a song that had a little bit of harpsichord in it because I kind of like that 18th century. Sometimes my voice can do that weirdness, like, you know how they had that sound back then. Like I like putting like different elements into it. I think about music as like a whole like construction of different pieces. So that's why he'll do something, I'm like, oh, can you add this, can you add that? I love string, I love classical guitar, different types of guitars in music. So that's kind of how it starts. And then the words come from life.
Yeah.
You know, the song I'm writing right now is called Friend Zone, and it's like friendship zone. It's like, you're constantly keeping me in a friendship zone. Don't you see I like you? I think you like me too. So it's like, you know, I'm trying to get out of this friendship zone. And we, you know, if you've ever had a crush on somebody and, you know, you're like, see me, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm writing about life situations. And sometimes they're not even current situations, or they might be my friend's situation. I'm like, I got an opinion about this, you know, so I might write from there. I have a song, I'm hoping it'll come out for Mother's Day, that's about mothers, like motherhood. And I also have another song that I'm working on. Oh, man, Kylie and I, Kylie Budden from UAY, we have been working on a song called Dreaming of Justice. Wow. And so that's a really great song, just kind of about our community and like the different strides that we've done here in the Iowa City area. And so that kind of came from life experiences, right? There were things going on in the community, and it's like, I'm dreaming of justice. Like, I'm dreaming of when we're able to like get past it. It's like, so I think the last line of that song is like, so wake me up when it's over, you know, because it's like, it's so exhausting, like, you know. I think another line in there is saying, but my friends, it's like my friends care from a distance. Like, I need you to get involved, right? I need you to get involved in this fight. I'm tired. So that's also a really, really powerful song that's about life, right? It's about life, and yeah, it's exciting.
Sometimes people talk about songs like that as if they're like there's a difference between political songs and personal songs, but it sounds like you're saying it's all the same thing.
Your personal is political, right? Like, and in so many ways. I mean, you know, my identity is tied up in how I live my life and how politics impacts my life, how politics impacts my freedoms, how politics, you know, how, you know, it may seem small, but the procedure, you change the procedure of how something does, that can impact my life positively or negatively, you know. It's not just, you know, U.S. government laws, like local. It's like school changes, you know what I'm saying? Like 7:55 sounds good for some people. 7:55 is a struggle for me. Yeah. You know, as an artist, I'm a night owl. So it's like, that. Whew, like, you know, so it just, you know, that's a slight change, but it impacts me. So all these things they impact me. So the political and the personal, they kind of are the same side, two sides of one coin. So I feel them deeply.
Yeah.
I feel them deeply.
Yeah, I know so many other people do, and I really appreciate you sharing those feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your music and your work.
Yeah, it's all integral. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see the forest from the trees because it's like, who am I in this role today, right now? Am I an artist? Am I, am I working? Am I not working? But it's a huge part of my joy journey, and so I started late in music is just because it felt good. It felt good to do. It felt good to play around with it, and over time, it like turned into a thing. I found my voice. I found parts of myself that were lost long ago. Yeah. To get that back. And it's one of those things where it's like, Vera Wang designing a wedding dress at 40 and now you just know the name, right? It's like, there's no age limit on your artistry.
Yeah.
And, you get better with time, but some time is irrelevant sometimes about when that artistry comes upon you. Like, I work at the senior center and I know people who have been like Juilliard stars and been playing piano and singing opera, and now they're like amazing artists, right? Like they're drawing and they're painting, and it was just something they just never got into. That other part of their artistry creativity came out later, and so I don't think anybody should put a limit on what that looks like and when that began. So, was
there a particular thing that brought that out? Was there any instance that made you make this move?
So I noticed really early in life that my son is probably he has an incredible ear. I think he has perfect pitch, which is really annoying as an artist. Type of kid is like, you might need auto-tune for that. You're like, you're so rude. And I just saw every time he was around a keyboard or piano, he was listening. And when I realized that he could vocally produce other sounds, I was like, wow. So when the pandemic hit, my kids were in kindergarten. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm trying to figure out sources of what they can do. And music was a thing. Music is always a thing in our house. Like my son listens to jazz. You wouldn't believe this little kid is listening to jazz, but he gets in the tub and it's like, Alexa, play some jazz, I needed to find a way for him to do music, and I found this music app. And I didn't realize the kid could freestyle, not rapping freestyle, but just hear music and sing.
Yeah.
And now I used to do that as a kid, and I was like, I don't know if I still can do that. But then I just started doing that as well, listening to beats and putting out these 40-second songs, right? 40-second songs. I'm like, you can write a song in 40 seconds. You can say a lot in 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it came from, was just being on this app, and we were locked at home because of the pandemic, and it became an outlet. It came a way for me to express how I was feeling, feeling scared, feeling frustrated, all these different things. And so I was writing about heartbreak because I went through my marriage ending through the pandemic, and so I needed an outlet, so I sang it out. In tears sometimes, but I sang it out. I was angry, I sang it out, and it just came up with these beautiful melodies and these just beautiful ways to express that, and it was my therapy. And so over time I met people from the app, and then in the real world. And so now it's I have people all over the world that I know that do music, and and really figuring out that I have a soul sound, the way that I sing, it's gonna be soul. I still do some gospel, contemporary gospel stuff here or there, but mostly, I call myself an eclectic soul singer because I sing a little country and a little bit, a little reggae, a little, world music.
Well, and if you're using harpsichords and cellos,
right? It's got
that's
a little
pretty eclectic too.
I love that stuff, right? So I love music, right? So I don't feel like anything. I mean, I have some heavy metal stuff that I've done. I've done some rock stuff. I've done some pop music. Now I don't know if I could ever perform some of these because I had to do them in a couple of takes, but but I can hear music constantly, and so
Yeah.
I have to. I always say if I don't get a chance to write or to sing, I feel musically constipated because I'm like it's so much shoved down there, and I'm like. So getting that opportunity to write it out or to sing it out or just to hum it out and record it, it's just been phenomenal. And I have way too many songs. That's why I am a songwriter, because I need to give them away. I would never be. I literally have 1,500 songs. I'm not even kidding with you. 1,500. And maybe more than that. And I literally have, I don't know how much music that is. Oh, that's a lot of music. I can't sing that all. So that's why I consider myself a songwriter. I'm like, I need to give this music away.
Give it to someone else to sing. Let them put it into the world for you.
Exactly. So I'm hoping. I got one opportunity right now. I'm doing. I'm helping a Zydeco band.
Yeah.
I'm writing a song for them about my experiences in New Orleans, and I just traveled there, but I have friends from Louisiana area. And so writing about having a good time in New Orleans, it's called Take Me Down to the Quarters. And so I'm looking forward to getting that together and working with those folks. So
That's fantastic.
yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
How do you balance getting?
I knew that question was coming.
Because I'm thinking about, you got all these songs and you've got all this other stuff you're doing, and it all requires some work and some commitment. How do you balance it? How do you keep going?
Lack of sleep. No. The difficult thing about being multi-talented, and I mean that in the most humblest way, is that it feeds you. In reality, I'm an introvert, but you learn to be extroverted because there's these parts of you that require extroversion. And I know I always appear extroverted, but I'm really a reflective person, and so these creative outlets allow that reflection to come out, and so I find time for that. My kids are into music and stuff, and so we write stuff to be funny or whatever, but everything has its place, everything has its balance, right? I prioritize, obviously, right? There's some things I prioritize, like paying my bills. So those things happen first. But then, in the evening time when I have time, after my kids go to bed, I set aside some time, whether that's just to write a little bit. I also am like a writer, right? So I present and I do public speaking and stuff, but those things you just prioritize. Like our weekends are full, we're busy. I have a lot of downtime sometimes, and that allows me to do some of those things too. Some people think I'm just like go all the time. In reality, I'm like at home, laid up in the bed, watching YouTube. It's the appearance of being busy, right? Because the appearance of being busy means that people don't bother you. Because they're oh, she's busy. I'm like, oh, fine. I used to take offense to that. I used to be like, well, you don't know my schedule, so you should have asked me. But now I'm just like, sure, whatever. Yeah. Because it's rest for me, right? And I look at rest as a form of resistance. I follow the nap ministry, and I'm like, I'm not, it sounds like I'm grinding all the time, but a 40-second song, how long does that take to do a 40-second song? What? 10 minutes? If you can get it out of your head and into the world. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're freestyles, right? So I'm not at the studio, right? At the studio, I'm going to have to do multiple takes, and I want to make sure it's perfect and da-da-da. Yeah. But if it's just random in my head, I can make it sound like I'm yodeling. Who cares, I can go back and perfect it, right? I can go back and take that line that randomly came in my head. I was singing a song when I came in, and I was like, I don't want to be a puppet, babe. I don't want you to marionette me, right? Yeah. I don't mind playing games, but don't play with me emotionally, right? So it's you know what I'm saying? It's like wordplay, but it's like you're thinking about that. I don't want to be a puppet. I want you, but those are lines, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I got to get that out. So I'm in the car. I'm like, I don't want to be a puppet, babe,
You got the melody, and you've got the metaphor there, and you've got a structure for all
the pieces, idea. Right? I can hear the backgrounds. Ooh, it's just like that's what's in my head, and so it's like.
That's right, folks. Live on the air,
No.
we got some creation in our creative conversation.
Yes, it just flows, and when something flows and it's not, I have days I'm stagnant, right, where I'm just like I don't feel like doing it, so I don't.
Yeah.
I'm grown,
Yeah.
I'm grown. I can pay my own bills, so if I want to, take an hour and do some music on a weekend, that's my prerogative, and I can do that, and so. And the good thing is that my kids also enjoy that. So like when we're doing that, it's not like me taking away anything from them. Like they're there. They want to be front row if I'm singing. They want to, they want to be a part. And my son's ear is so incredible. I'd be like, Nate, what's another harmony here? And he can sing it perfectly.
Wow.
It's creepy because I wish I had his range because, he's little. So his range is incredible. Yeah. He can hit the high notes that I dream about. And then he plays piano. So like he can hear that music in his head. And so I can't wait till he gets good enough that he can just produce some stuff for me, save me a little money and time.
I was going to say, bring him into the studio.
Yeah. I mean, and we're just used to it. It's just part of our family. My daughter writes music and sings, and that's what we do at home, if we're not reading or like the other thing is we don't watch television. So and some people are like, that's so strange, you gotta look at, we just don't watch it. We stopped watching TV over the summer, and like a month ago I just had my friend take it and put it in wrap the cord up and put it in the basement because we don't watch it anymore. So that saves so much time. I'm not saying that we don't have tablets and stuff like that, but we're not sitting there. That's not the focal point of our living room. The focal point of our living room is a piano.
Wow.
And a bookshelf, right? Like that is the living room.
That's so powerful.
Yeah, and and Alexa, because she's like she's my second parent in the house for all the questions I don't know the answers to. I'm like, ask Alexa, I don't know. So that's just a huge part of just morphing and being able to flow and to move with our creativity in that way.
So what do you think the future holds for Lala DeLoach? What's your next
Well, good old La. It's so weird talking to myself in third person. I have some beautiful opportunities. I have a couple interviews with some radio stations out of London. The music that I do have online, like a nice portion of my folks are coming out of the UK that are fans, or Australia, which is interesting too. Yeah. France. So I have some interviews with them and some folks in the DMV area. Soul is not a thing that you really hear. R&B and soul is not an Iowa thing. I mean, it's here, but it's just not an Iowa thing. And so even when I have to present on larger venues, it's just easier to say I'm not too far from Chicago, right? Because to say you're an Iowa soul singer, people are like, oh, what? Oh, who? It's just that, it's just not as much of a thing here. And so, but those coastal areas and the South, soul music is just integral. It's every day. So, I find myself being able to being drawn from those spaces. And the people that I work with musically are in those areas too, so they're going to have more connections there. I'm working on getting Iowa connections, but I was going to
say, I'm hoping you can change those perceptions.
It would be so nice, but it really is a struggle. I just was like, well, where do I go? Who do I partner with? Like, who do I sit down with? But the more that I talk about it, the more people reach out and are like, I like singing. I'm like, well, come on, because I've never professed that I'm the best singer, right? Like, I'm just like, I'm singing. Now, if it sounds good, it sounds good. If I hit a couple crooked notes, just think it was intentional. Like, keep moving. But yeah, like, I'm hoping that there can be some more soul singers. And those people I know they're out there. Yeah. Find me. I'm easy to find.
All right.
Easy to find.
So speaking of finding you, let's just, before we go, let's revisit that. Sure. Your new song.
New song, Not With You, March 1st. It's fantastic. It is definitely a song that you're going to want to turn the volume up in your car. You can find me at the Sound of La La Land, which is my production company for my vocal production. So Sound of La La Land, www.soundoflalaland.com. as well as LaLa_DeLoach _ on almost everything. Reach out. I would love to partner more with folks that are doing music, like all types of music. Long as it's got some elements and some space for some soul in there, I'm with it. And I guess that's kind of why I like blues and country too, because it's got some soul, some storytelling in there. Yeah. So I'm open. I'm definitely open. Like I said, I love music, and it doesn't matter. I have a song that I call myself La Lizzle, not Lizzo, but Lizzle.
Yeah.
Like sizzle, Lizzle. Like I sing all different types of types of music, but like these days I keep it pretty clean because from right now. But one day I might get a little crazy out there.
You got to appeal to all audiences.
Yeah, all the audiences, and so Lala has a little bit of sex appeal sometimes. It's just jazzy sassiness. Sassiness, I guess, is more of it. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
This is great.
Really appreciate it. This has been great. Creative Conversations with LaLa_DeLoach, Summer of the Arts.
Yes.
And thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely.